52 Ambulances by Dr. Knii Lante featuring Black Rasta. And the doctor is here with us. So we have moved from 52 ambulances. Now we have 307, I think?
Yes.
Are you happy?
Yeah, man. I mean, Charlie is a step in the right direction, you know. If everybody had been adding, you know, some 200, 200, 300, 300 like that, by now we go far. So definitely it's a step in the right direction. And this, you know, proves that there is power in music and the word. You know what I mean? Yeah. Whenever the people talk, we think we are just talking, but the people are listening. The people, that authorities are listening, you know, and we're so happy that this step has been taken. And it's just an example of what musicians can achieve, you know. The more we talk about certain subjects, the more, you know, our fathers look at it and address it. So Charlie, are you cool? You know, so right now it'd be like if I do a new remix featuring Nana Akufo-Addo. Our press. 300 ambulances, 1,000 V8 for the minister.
So they should keep the 1,000 V8s,
yeah,
but increase the number of ambulances in the country.
They try because, yeah, man, I mean, like I'm saying, if everybody had been adding something to the stock, like by now, you know, we would have gone a long way. Right. So Charlie, cool? Yeah, man. Right. But it's not enough, though. It's not enough.
I was gonna ask you, what do you think of the pomp and pageantry they made about, you know, the 307 ambulances, the whole ceremony and inauguration? Was it?
Yeah, man. I mean, Charlie. Yeah, I mean, when you do something good, before make people know, say you do the thing good, especially in this political thing, you know. Somebody builds a hospital and you have to go and, you know, commission it and make some noise about it. That's the way the bourgeois politics goes. So I was expecting it and they did it, and I don't think that it's something new, you know what I mean? Yeah, man, they celebrated it, and of course it also made people more aware that this thing had been done. You know, it was on TV live. We had an address by the president. We had an enactment by the National Ambulance Service, you know, of how to carry out first aid. Let me put it that way. It's called CPR when you have an accident and all that. It was educative, and I thought a lot of consideration, a lot of thought went into the program, into the launch, and I was very, very impressed. I was so impressed. It's just that, like I'm saying, I mean, the stock is still not enough. You know, the country, we are about 20 million. I'm sure. I don't remember when we did the last population census.
30 million.
But now we are like 30, you know, 30 million, and you have 300 national ambulances, you know. It's like, it's still a drop in the ocean.
They were looking at the constituencies it's going to serve, 275
and that was something to that really freaked me out. I liked it, and you know, like you could see them labeled constituency by constituency, and when they finished, they just, you know, sent all the ambulances to the various. It was nice, and I think that, yeah, man, we should do more. You know, if this government comes back into power, if another government who comes back into power, if I do more, you know, we still no reach where we for reach at all. You know, so
would you say the NPP government is a listening government?
We spoke about the ambulance thing, and I think they even had it in their constitution or something to improve some of those kind of things. So yeah, man, they've done what they're supposed to do. I mean, they've taken a step in that direction. But there are other things too which people are talking about, like for example the voters register thing, and I think the NPP is against what the others are saying. They think that the voters register should be revised. So well, we'll live to see whether they are.
Do you think are you for or against it?
Me personally, I don't think we for revise the voters register at this time. You know, because it is too close to an election, you know, and Charlie, you know how things are done in this. You know, I can see a whole lot of lapses, loopholes coming up. You know, a lot of arguments, a lot of problems. Even when we've had 2 years to revise things, we still have it. You know, the national identity card. I go do my registration. Up to now, I haven't gotten my card, man. You understand? And plenty of people haven't gotten theirs. We did one too in 2000 and something. You know,
nothing happened to that one.
Yeah, man. Right? You know, so you know how things are done. You know, you go and do this re-registration thing now. The time go catch you, go the place that your name is not in the register, and then it becomes a whole, you know, Charlie, it's too close. I think it's too close. Yeah, man. And I think, and a lot of money too is going to be sunk into it, and I don't think at this time, that's I don't think. For me, I don't think that is the priority, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Back to the ambulances, just a minute more. Former President Mahama feels, yes, good, you've brought ambulances, 307 of them. Look at the hospitals. How many do we have? Look at the state they are in. Where do you stand on that issue? Like, should we be comparing the number of ambulances to the number of hospitals in the state they're in, or we should be celebrating the number?
Ambulances and hospitals and all them things, they work hand in hand, you know. So, I mean, it is a legitimate concern that President Mahama had or has, you know. Yes, I think that our hospitals still, there's a whole lot to be done about our hospitals, equipping them, getting more doctors, more nursing, more lab staff, you know, and all that, you know. So there is definitely a whole lot to be done in the health sector, totally. You understand? So, but I think that we should appreciate small steps, like the way NDC built the Ridge Hospital like that. I mean, Charlie, positive, you know. I mean, I mean, these are positive things. So we just celebrate them as they come along. And I don't really care whether it's NDC who does it or MPP who does it. Once it is a positive step, I'm ready to celebrate. Because, you know, it might be just me having an accident around the mental hospital and I'll be pushed to Ridge Hospital. You understand? Or it may be just me going to perform at Sonyani and I get an accident and I'll need an ambulance. So, Charlie, as far as I'm concerned, Charlie, these are little steps in the right direction and we should laud them. But I think there's far more that the politicians can do. I don't think that this is near their maximum at all, because we are still spending a lot on luxury and unnecessary things, you know, which can be channeled into these kind of things and public services, you know, to alleviate the plight of the people.
Last week, I learned that about 500 prank calls had been placed for ambulance services. And I'm suspecting these are young people, right? Because I don't see anybody who is busy at work pranking the ambulance.
Some adults still get some children minds, you know, and some to get wicked minds, like you're saying. You know, but these prank things, I remember when I was a child, you know, I also thought about, many times I thought about pranking, you know, like, let me call this police number and see what will happen, you know, even though I never really got to do it. But yeah, I mean, it could be that it could be coming from children, it could be just some mischievous. But everywhere there is a service like this, there are prank calls. I mean, even in the UK, in the US and all that. But of course, there should be stiff penalties when you are caught. Because when you make a prank call like that and the ambulance is dispatched, and then somebody who is really sick now needs the ambulance, then Charlie, you've killed. Yes, exactly. So I think that there should be really stiff penalties for doing this.
Would an arrest be too much, like going too far? If we make
a prank call, prank call, I think say you for be jailed straight. Because why you for make that prank call? What came into your head before you even decided to take a phone to make a call which you knew you shouldn't have made? I mean, you are just fooling around and calling national ambulance personnel. Look, on the way coming, they could have had an accident. And the whole ambulance will be destroyed. So that's maybe the municipal something ambulance gone. A whole million people are going to you know, these things. Drivers, the ambulance themselves, their staff could be hurt. You know, it's such a great cost to the country. I don't think this thing should be encouraged at all. You know, yeah, man.
Class Drive on Class 91.3 FM. I'm Chauffeur Prince Benjamin in conversation with Dr. Knii Lante. WhatsApp 0500,000 202. Don't forget your name and your location. Get in touch with your questions and reactions to the music. We're going to play Dr. Knii Lante and Felinuna now. You is the title, one of our favorites here at Class FM. And definitely we'll check out his newie. Some of you have heard it already played on the show, on the station. The title is Champion, but that's for later. Now, You.
About the thing when we don't do, how the fire can't cool. And you start to send emojis when I love you. See me spending money just to buy for you, buy for you, buy for you, buy for you. Set to mama love is meant to be me and you. Me and you, baby, my one and only. Love has always been true. Love is meant to be me and you. Forever together, my lover. Set to mama love is meant to be me and you. Me and you, baby, my one and only. Love has always been true. Love is meant to be me and you. Forever together, my
Class Drive on Class 91.3, the one for going home. 22 after 4, chauffeur Prince Benjamin here with DJ Bosiaku on the ones and twos, Knii Lante and Felinuna. You. Doc, you say that she is with someone else, she is in love with someone else, but you also like her. Right?
Those things that they happen.
It happened, wow. So how do you handle this? You're crushing on somebody's wife or somebody's girlfriend.
That one there be no-go area. No-go area, Charlie. Hey!
Danger zone.
No. That one.
Langards.
Don't attempt.
On this property.
Yeah. But Charlie, nice tune. I'm always happy to hear this
Wicked
tune. You know
thing.
what I mean? This one will not be fast food music. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Yeah, man. After 2 years, you hear the song and you know, say, yeah, the song's still there.
Sounds like it just came out yesterday.
Yeah, man.
Really
It's
good.
fresh, you know.
Really
Yeah,
song.
man.
Beautiful duet.
Respects to Genius Selection and Felinuna.
Davi.
David Diva.
Davi Diva. And Jalemme. Henry Minta at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center says, my Lord PB. PB near, thank God it's a Tuesday. This one is a Tuesday vibe track. And he's got the dancing emojis. He loves the songs. Tell DJ Bosiaku I never heard his voice before on AOI. He's been on that before.
Sexy Bosiaku.
He's gonna be on the mic one of these days. We nearly put him on Friday. I think he swerved us. Yeah. Calvin at Tema says, Prince Benjamin, you are making my work in the office bearable. Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. This is the feedback we just want to hear. You've got a thumb up emoji and some envelope emoji. That's a letter to us, everybody. What's up, 0500202. Don't forget your name and your location. Let's talk the coronavirus now. Dr. Knii Lante is here. What is it?
Okay. It is a new virus though, but we are learning about it small. You know, and it belongs to, actually it's a virus that is wearing a crown.
Oh.
Manchegile. Knii
Corona.
Yes. Nana Corona, he has come. With all the, you know, and actually it's called Corona because the virus looks like it's wearing a crown.
Oh, when you have a closer look at it.
Exactly. When you look under the electron microscope, you have a look at it. It looks like it looks like a crown, like those old time crowns with the knobs on top.
Yes.
Like you know that King Solomon,
Like spikes or something.
or 32, the Makana crown. Exactly. So that is why it's actually called the coronavirus. You know.
Oh.
Yeah, man.
Oh, that's fact number one, everyone. This
see?
is a virus with a crown.
It didn't look like crown. So it really come.
Okay.
Anyway, but so it's not, and in that group of viruses, we've had exposures to some of those viruses before. Like I don't know if you Patrick, I don't know if you were born then, but you know that was like in 2000 something. There was a virus called. It came with a disease called SARS.
Okay,
SARS.
yes.
Oh,
yes.
Still
from Asia, right?
Okay. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
also from Asia.
It be like, it be like.
19.
So, you know, and then the MERS virus, they all belong to that same group, you know. And this new virus has come up. The first time it was isolated or found, I think, was in China, just recently.
Right, yeah, Wuhan.
In Wuhan province or something like that. Yeah, man. I used to like Chinese films, so Charlie. So for me, Charlie, this thing, you pay me pound say this thing for start for China there because those times I like Snake in the Monkey Shadow and you know Bruce Lee and them kind of things, and Jet Li and things. So I really love the Chinese people and their food too nice, you know. Their food nice. But they said this virus, they find out for some food market.
Yes,
a
seafood market. That's yeah.
No, the
That's
Chinese people they cook, you know, so they cook everything.
We've seen videos that look to us and our culture, it looks a bit disturbing coming from China, because I think I saw baby frogs being fed to a child. My old woman was telling me about something that looked like baby rats being dipped in some sauce of a sort. You know, you can see someone seriously enjoying this thing.
The thing we say, you know, social media, there's sometimes to people they lie.
Right.
You know, somebody will just do, you know, you take a rat and dip it in the pretend like he's eating, you know, just to create some buzz. But look, on another angle too, if you have a country that has about 1 billion, they be like how many people?
There are
like 1.5 billion. Not be this Ghana 30 million way with the hustle plus our ambulance.
Just Lagos here, a city Lagos has 20 million. That's close to what we have as a country. So you can imagine what's happening in China.
1.5 billion or something like that, you know. If you have a country that big there, your food pattern for change, because if you say you are waiting to have salmon and you know and tilapia before you eat there, shall it go be some way.
Right.
So you might have to start eating some kind of things, some other proteins, you know. So yeah, man. I mean, besides every country getting culture,
to be kind to them,
we chop monkey hand and things.
We they chop bats.
We they chop monkey hand
in Ghana. Mianebo is what it's called. Yeah, bats in soup, and when you punch or hit the chest, you see the soup, you know, coming out of different parts of it.
Dracula. You know, easy.
So yeah, to be kind to the Chinese.
Exactly. So you know, human beings as we are, God told us to go out there and domesticate everything and eat everything and to be blessed. So everybody they chop everything. So I think this thing came from some food in some food
seafood,
market and it jumped. You see. So sometimes and these viruses they reside in a certain, maybe they reside in the animal population. Like we can have a virus that resides maybe in the dog population, for example, and it will forever be in the dog population, being passed from dog to dog. But if by mistake some human being go chop them, then it comes into the human being, and then now it can be passed from human being to human being. So usually these viruses, they are in some animal population or maybe the seafood populations, and they are just there.
So there are other viruses around us, but we can't. It's not yet within the human.
Within the human, exactly.
It takes a certain interaction between the human and that source of the virus.
Exactly. You know, so that's how we think that it came about. I think Ebola, yes, some time ago. They said it came also from some monkey population. Some people went and chopped some monkey and then it crossed over to the human. You know, so
same was that of HIV, I think, right? I've read
HIV, dear Charlie. The theory is plenty. The theory is plenty because the virus that is acting very funny, you know, with as it keeps replicating or as it keeps giving birth, the form is changing. So if you go and, like, for example, if you have the first HIV virus, looks like a human face with 2 ears. By the time you go born in child, the child has 3 ears. So if you looked at the mother to formulate a drug that will act against the mother, which has 2 ears, it will act against the baby because the baby has 3 ears. So the HIV virus is changing all the time. That is the problem, you know.
The coronavirus, apparently it's comparable to a flu.
Yeah. So when you get it, then the symptoms you have, that is the signs that you begin to display to the world, or what you yourself you begin to feel, very similar to the flu. You know, it starts with maybe some headaches or some fever, some mild headache, and then you will say some sore throat, your throat is itching, then some sore throat will develop, and the next thing you begin to cough, you know, then your nose begins to get a little blocked, you know, and then you start sneezing, and now your nose is pouring, your coughing begins to increase, then now you start feeling body pains, you are in bed, you don't feel like going out, and all that. But the thing about this coronavirus is that it sometimes it goes, you know, this thing that we've described like flu, it happens in the upper part of your breathing system. So it happens in your nose, your throat, and maybe, let's say, the top part of your airway, you know. But sometimes these viruses are able to go down into the lower parts of your airway, where you have the bags that help you to breathe,
Right.
you know, the lungs, the alveoli and them things, you know. So that is where now when it gets there, then it becomes a pneumonia.
Okay. Right. And the coronavirus has that.
That is what it does. And it is more likely to become a pneumonia, that is to track from just a simple flu, which is just in your head and your neck region, into your lungs, if your immunity is down.
Right.
So if your immunity is down, what can make your immunity go down? Maybe you are too stressed, or you are not sleeping enough. All these things give you high immunity, and lowers your immunity. Or maybe you're not eating right. You know, you think you are dieting to lose weight, so because of that, you are not eating in the morning. In the afternoon, you are chewing some lettuce leaves, and in the evening, your eating pattern is all bastard. You can lose your immunity. Or maybe you are sick. Maybe you have some HIV or something. Your immunity goes down. But also there are things that give you naturally make you have low immunity. Like when you are a baby, your body hasn't learned to fight germs yet, so you don't have immunity. And then maybe when you get very old, or let's say old.
So the extremes, the poles, a baby and an old person.
Exactly, you know. And when you are sick from any other disease, your immunity may drop, so that this disease too can jump in. So you can have malaria and then develop a cold, you know, and things like that. So basically, when your immunity is down, that is when now the coronavirus begins to act like the king that it thinks it is, then starts to move into your lungs, pneumonia and all that, and you know, then it goes into your blood, starts affecting organs, all the organs in your body. That's what kills you actually, when you start having multiple organ failure, you know. So
and now your immune system can't fight these.
It can't fight.
So you're left.
Your liver is collapsing, your heart is collapsing, your kidneys are collapsing, you know, your brain is mashing up and then becomes something else. So basically that is how the thing behaves.
Okay. Class Drive on Class 91.3 FM. I'm Chauffeur Prince Benjamin here with Dr. Knii Lante. We are talking about the coronavirus, the Wuhan coronavirus. It's interesting that you mentioned your immune system plays a key role whether you would survive it or not. Because I have a friend who is in China at the moment who mentioned this to me, that if your immune system is compromised, then you are really in danger should you get the coronavirus.
Exactly.
Does that mean if your immune system is not compromised, you are strong, you could get the virus and survive?
Yeah, you could get it and survive. In fact, I think about 1 or 2 out of 5 people survive. So it isn't everybody who gets it who dies.
And that's why more than 8,000 have it, but 170 plus have died.
I was listening to BBC just before I came in, and they were mentioning things like 20,000, and unless my ear didn't hear well, but they mentioned some figure like 20,000 infections, yes, yet just about 400 or so have died. So it's not everybody who gets it who dies. But there again, it doesn't mean that if your immunity is up, you can't get it and die. So if you think that, and anyway, how do you know that your immunity is up? You think because you have muscles.
Are you looking at me or both, Jacob?
You know, having muscles doesn't mean that you have immunity, Charlie. You may look very, very nice, but your immunity is down. You know, so
is there a way to check this at the hospital?
It is very difficult to check immunity. You know, you will know if you are non-immune by how easily you get diseases and how hard it is for you to recover. And then, of course, if we are able to check for an agent that we know compromises your immunity, then we know that yes, like for example HIV, we find it in you, then it's likely. And then you can, in some advanced countries, they can actually check there are certain cells, certain white cells which they can check, and certain let me say, and some kind of let's say some liquids in your blood that fight diseases, which they can check, and when those things are down, then they can say that look, your immunity has dropped. You know, but me and you, dear, it's difficult to tell.
The WHO says the coronavirus is a global health emergency, but it's not yet a pandemic.
Yes.
What's the difference?
Okay, I think that I didn't do public health anyway. I just did it at basic. But I think what they are talking about is that, you know, when you say a pandemic, that means that it's now ravaging across borders and across continents.
18 countries now, but not yet.
Yeah, you see some one case in somewhere, country X, it has been contained. You see some one case in this country, it has been contained. That is a different situation from when the thing is now, it's moving from continent to continent, and thousands of people are having it, millions of people are having it. Then you say this thing is now a pandemic, you know. So what they are saying is it's an emergency. It can easily turn into a pandemic, you know. But these things, they are statistical descriptions.
Right. Data.
Even though it is not a pandemic, if tomorrow your friend businessman comes from China and he comes and says hello to you at home and you get it, you see that all these descriptions about it being a pandemic and not being a pandemic, and it doesn't matter. As far as you are concerned, now you have it. Right. So for me, I treat it like once it is there, Charlie, just do whatever you can. Exactly. Right. You know, I treat it like every disease, once it's there, Charlie, for me, it's a pandemic. Because if I get it, Charlie, yeah, man, maybe so.
Right, so let's talk about, you mentioned your friend, your business friend from China comes, says hello to you, and you get it. How do you get the coronavirus?
Like I said, it's a new virus, but they've observed certain patterns, and they've been able to come up with how they think it is transmitted. And also, if you look at the fact that it belongs to a certain group of viruses, like coronavirus, and you look at how other coronaviruses are transmitted, then it gives you a clue as to probably how this one is also being transmitted. Right. So what they are talking about now is that the first thing that they usually mention is close contact. Being very close to someone, like within, let's say, 3 feet or 2 feet of the person. And they say this for a reason, because if you are so close to a person, one, the person can cough into the air, and then when he coughs, bits of saliva from his mouth go into the air. You know, those are droplets. You don't see with your eye, but they are in the air. And then when you breathe them in, it passes through your nose, it settles in your nose, and then it goes into your lungs and everything, then you are in trouble. Or maybe they sneeze, it's the same thing, you know. So droplet spread is one very important way of transmitting it.
Which means also, you don't want to be kissing anybody who's got it.
Hey, that one there, by the things passing through SF, you are getting how much more this one, you are putting your mouth on another mouth. That one there, you know, it's like double motorway. You know, so in these days, they're kissing for come down, for play more conscious music, champion, and things. This is not the time for baby be mine and things like that. You know what I mean? So, and then another way is like, you know, somebody coughs into he coughs. You know, we like to use our hand to block our cough. So somebody sneezing, he uses his hand to block. The good thing to do is to use a handkerchief. But we like using our hand, so you do it with your hand. Then you spray your hand with all the germs and the coronaviruses. And then you go and meet a friend in the office, and you say, oh, Charlie, how be? And Ghanaians, we like shaking a lot. Small thing, or you shake.
I've changed to chop knuckle. I'll give you a blow and I'll shake your hand.
That's it. That's why the Rastas like to do that fist, so that they don't open their hands up and transmit disease. You see, all these things, they have cultural... You know, but we don't know. So when we see, oh yeah, peace and love, then we just they do. We know they understand what we do. But that's why they do those kind of things. So, you shake somebody, finger snap, you know, you've transmitted the thing to the person's hand. Then he sees some groundnuts being sold. He buys the groundnut, pours it into his hand. The groundnut and the germs mix in his hand, and then he throws it into his mouth. That's it. He's infected himself, you know. So that is another way of getting yourself infected. Or somebody has coughed, or he has his infected hands. He has used it to touch maybe some surface, for example, tables, or maybe even your door handle.
Headphones.
Exactly, your door handle. So he's deposited some of the germs on it, and then you come, you hold the thing, you know, then you finish. You are biting your nail. That's it. Or you rubbing your eye. You have transmitted it into your body. So these are basically how it is transmitted. You know, close contact, you know, like you're kissing, the sneezing, the coughing, the thing around people who are close to you. And that's why in that my tweet I was mentioning things like the trotro environment,
churches as well,
trotro environment, taxis, churches, crusade grounds, and things like that. We have to be very careful. You know, prisons and classrooms, you know, crashes, where we just put all the children so close to each other. One gets a cold, and we just take it for granted. Oh, when you're cold, and it could spread through those populations very, very easily. You know, so in this time, we should be thinking about how to teach, you know, the teachers and things that look, when a student comes and he has a cold, it is enough for him to get an excuse duty. Otherwise, you infect all the others. I'm not even talking about coronavirus, but even our normal common colds, which we get, you know, or the normal flus which people get in America. And anyway, the flus which people get out there are equally as deadly.
Right.
They, you know,
right. They kill people.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You know, so. Right. So this is the time for us to really be aware about crowded situations, you know, and being very close to.
Ghana, do you think we are in a position to handle this virus should it get here?
See, the way the thing is spreading in China, and sometimes you wake up in the morning and you hear that, let's say 6,000 people have it, and then the next morning you put on the news and you hear that 8,000 people have it. I'm not sure if we are getting more numbers because they are diagnosing it more, or if the thing is spreading more.
Right.
But me, I like to think of it as spreading. So if it is spreading that fast, then we should be very careful not to get it. And because if we get it and the thing is going to spread at even 1,000
pace,
1,000 a day in this our Ghana here, with our 300 ambulances and our 20 hospitals, then we are in trouble.
China is having to build a hospital in 6 days and all that.
Chale, you see that thing? You know, can we do that? So we have to be very careful. We have to be on guard. We shouldn't lose guard at all.
The travel ban, is it useful? WHO says it's not really needed, but do you think
it's something that I've been turning around in my head? So like I'm telling you, in today's tweet, like, so I was asking, let's all discuss, do you think that a travel ban is necessary at this time? Probably not a travel ban, but we have to be, at this time, not a travel ban, but we have to be very, very vigilant at our airports and our ports and our borders, you know, and the people who are there should know the symptoms, the signs, and this is the time when we should have very strong surveillance. Somebody comes with this, it is quickly reported, passed on to Ministry of Health or the Public Health, and we are monitoring what is happening. Otherwise, we'll be taken off guard.
Dr. Knii Lante, time is not our friend at the moment, but your song Champion, what can we know about it? And is it out with a video?
Yes, Champion. Oh, Charlie, Champion. Sorry, we're talking about coronaviruses. Don't worry. But Champion is a motivational song. We dropped it just recently. It's on YouTube. The video is on YouTube, and the audio is everywhere. Spotify, Boomplay, everywhere. All the blogging sites have it. You know, E for easy downloads. Actually, it's free downloads. You know, of course, there are sites too that you can go there and buy. You know, yeah. So it's
buy.
Yeah, it is all around. You know, and it's getting heavy and heavier rotation as we go along. The views on YouTube are climbing impressively. You know, these days we are getting, it be like us man bringing ICOM the music top now. Things are happening, you understand? So we intend to keep that way, you know, more music this time, more music. We're going to go into it really hard, you know, and expect some very wicked song within the next 3 weeks. Wicked.
Oh wow.
Wicked.
Is it just you, or you've got somebody on it?
I'm trying to pull somebody on it, but with or without the person,
it's gonna bang.
Wicked, you know. Yeah, man. This time for sure, the Nigerians say with we day, you know, with the Remas and the Burna Boys alone, but with we be this hard. Conversation, we be hard. And we will say we be hard. You mark it.
Right. Class Drive on Class 91.3 FM. Dr. Knii Lante, thank you so much for coming over.
Give thanks.
And talking to us on the coronavirus and your new release.